Hey, what's up? This is Dilio, representing DilioT2K.com, doing my review of the MPC One Plus. Obviously, this is not an MPC One Plus, but at least it's a good reference point for it because it is actually in the same shape as this MPC One Retro Edition. Once again, this video is sponsored by Dilly 808, my newest sample and drum loop pack you can download on my website now. Just follow the link in the description. It's free. Go ahead and download your copy. There's less than 100 copies left out of 200. So make sure you get that. And let's talk about it. Let's talk about the MPC One Plus. Of course, you've already seen everybody do their videos on it, but I haven't done mine, which is typical to rational why I wait and kind of just see what everybody's thinking about it. Then I kind of draw my conclusion about it. So I think the best way to review this product is outside of my own perspective, right? No, it's probably not something I need because I already have MPCs. Of course, actually, I'm really indifferent about the specs. It's 2 gigabytes. It didn't stop me before. It probably won't stop me now from making great music. And, I think it's kind of redundant to really consider one from the perspective of you already got MPCs and you're not really a collector. Obviously, this MPC isn't really directed towards you. I don't think you're the target audience for it, right? So, who really cares how many MPCs you got? Like who producers care, and that's about it. What about the public who consumes music? I don't think they really. I'm not sure they're on the dance floor counting how many MPCs you got. I don't think so. So for that, it doesn't really count. But where I think it does count is that if I try to see it from a different perspective outside of myself, right? And my perspective on it's not that negative. I'm just sort of like, okay, cool, and I keep it moving. I'm not really that much affected by it. But I think this is really for anyone, including this one and the other ones. I have to highlight the other ones, the older ones too. The one in the black color, and they got a gold one. That's crazy. Anyone who just wants to make beats, anybody who's curious about a hardware sequencer, I'm enjoying that movement back to hardware for my generation. I did miss out on the MPCs, but I was good because of FL Studio at the time. But I did miss out on like the 2000, 3000, 4000, 5000s, and at that time I just wasn't really good at earning a lot of money. Those things were several thousands of dollars. But if I had something that was around 600, 700, 500 bucks at the time, it would have been much more in my reach. But again, I was more biased towards a FL Studio user. So back to that perspective, that's not my own. This is for the kid or girl who hasn't built up their studio rack yet. This because, you got effects in here that kind of can do the same thing. A lot of things that can happen here. Now, the quality won't be the same. There is a little edge in quality, but when you're starting out and you're just really learning how to create and stuff like that, you're not really concerned about the finer things in life. I mean, it's cool if you're exposed to that, but if you just want to get your own thing and bang out these ideas in your head, this is a cool platform to do it. If I had something like this in my hands as a child, not as a teenager, as a child, so before age 12, this would have been my world. When I got my first keyboard, that was my world. I was on that thing every day making tapes. Yes, back then. And that's how I was when I got my first keyboard, because for the first time, nobody could dictate to me how or what I couldn't do with it. My mom had keyboards, had grandparents and cousins who had keyboards, and I was always the kid kind of reaching out on theirs. So if you got a child of your own and you want them to leave your stuff alone, you could probably put this in front of them, and this will probably occupy them if they are, as my dad would have said, musically inclined, right? And that's how I was. Nobody could tell me that this was good or bad enough. Nobody was in my, I didn't have to worry about that because all I could do was learn how to finger drum, create, and have fun with it. So I think that from that person's perspective who doesn't have one, I think it could be an exciting product. If I could advise a child's father or mother who has a child that's musically inclined, I think this is something I would advise them to get because it's a dedicated device. It's not a laptop. It's not a video game. And the way things are set up now, you can really not only create, but then also run a business with it by, selling beats to fellow students or making beat tapes or working with artists. You really don't know what can happen from being a child, or even a teen or even adult. If you just want to have something that you can tap on and play, I think it's really cool. And it has some extra features. Like we all know that the MPC One Plus has wireless capabilities, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi. I misquoted that in my last video because I said, oh, and I was trying so hard to make a cool video about it because I was finally including, I was sent one. I was like trying to be all cool and educated and a content creator. And I misquoted and said that it had wireless, and I was wrong. So to anyone's world I ruined by misquoting that it had Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, I apologize. That was my mistake. I just assumed that because it was an MPC, it would have that. So this one doesn't have that, but the MPC One Plus does. And I think you get a plug-in with the MPC One Plus edition. There's so many editions now. It's almost curious. And I think if the $699 price point is high for you, for your first MPC, there are plenty of used ones out there on the market for much less, maybe $200 or $300 left. You can get the original MPC One. The retro is a little bit more of a fancier colorway, so you may not find that as cheap. But I think it's good for your first MPC, especially for anyone. But I'm just thinking about the perspective of a teenager or even a child who has proficiency. Like imagine, so for me, when I was a kid, I would play the piano, right? I was a kid playing the piano, and there were pianos around the house, but it wasn't until I was 14 till I got my first piano, right? My parents brought me my own first keyboard. But I could have been practicing on my own keyboard before then, right? But that's sort of in the past now, and I can't really change that. But if I had my own piano, heck, if I had my own samplers at the time, because I was sampling on my mom's computer, but that's besides the point, I would have been so much, I don't know, I did all right. I'm not even going to really trip on that point. And I'm kind of going to rant this off of the subject, which is the MPC One Plus. But I think, again, good first MPC or secondary MPC. I will lean more towards the MPC Live for more of a mobile thing. But what would sell me on one of these is, like, say, and I'm daydreaming, a Live 3 in this form factor. Battery, this form factor, Live 3, get it more towards the MPC 2500 size. That would sell me. I would hurt. I wouldn't need it, but I'd be like, oh, I would want one. Because they're fun devices and they're a lot of fun. No, by no means are they perfect, but they're good. They're good. They're fun. And for that person or that kid who just wants to create and get into it, this is probably a good fit. I just have the one retro. That's what I have. I haven't been sent products since this, so I'm going to work with what I got and just be glad that I was included in the show. And I'm glad that you watched this video and heard my opinion about it. Let me know what you think. It does seem a little bit repetitive from the person who already has every product. I get that, but from the perspective of someone who hasn't dove into this yet, they want that fancy red color. That's cool. Not necessary if you're okay with just getting one in your hand. All right, so I'm Delio. You're watching the Delio TTK YouTube channel. Let me know what you think in the comments below about the MPC One Plus and if it's good for someone just starting out. Let me know. I'll see you on the next video. I'm out. Peace.